Robin Cross joins us now, and he's with StoneX. He's located in Chicago. Always call on Robin this time of the week to check in on what's going on with the lumber markets, and it looks like it's kind of suffering a little bit here today. I believe March 4th was about the peak of the market, was it not? I think we were talking about that time, Robin.
It was, and I'll get into that a little bit because I definitely had my fears at that time, if you recall. So first of all, let's do some prices. March sitting at 1353. That's up 250 with only 2 trades. We have expiration on Tuesday. There was only a little bit left to get out of, so it's anybody's guess on what prices are going to do for expiration. So May right now, which would be your lead by open interest, is 1173 even, down 2290 with 51 trades over there. And July, worth mentioning, is 101780 down 1520 with 9 trades. So, Marlon, if you remember, last 32 days, lumber has had over a 90% limit move potential, okay? We had I forgot what the exact count was, but it was 29 of 32 days we were limit up or limit down. So the CME had to do something. They stepped in and expanded our daily limits. Personally, I think that's that's old hat. I don't think it's too effective because what it does is ultimately just thins out an already thin market, So the new limits went from $42 on a daily to $57. Then, when it goes limit up or limit down, you have expanded limits. Expanded limits went from $57 to $86. So just to put that in perspective, that's about a $9,500 possible loss on a one lot. So it's really crazy. So combine that with $10,000 per car margin, and I expect volatility to still be on the forefront of this market. I don't see how it couldn't be. So, regardless of whatever our daily limits are in lumber, it has a tendency, or, I should say the limits are like magnets for prices, right? So when you come in, I don't care if it's $10 limits or, in this case, $86 limits, guys are going to put their bids in near limit down and put their offers near limit up. So you're going to have this massive volatility swing between the two, right? So we'll see how it's going. I think it's going to hurt open interest, and we'll go over that real quick, too. March open interest only at 74, like I mentioned, with expiration coming up on Tuesday. May's sitting at 1,523. July's at 560. So that's a total of about 2,300. If you remember, Marlon, 2,200's kind of been our low point of open interest for the past couple years, so we're just above that, right? And then in true lumber fashion, we got to take the new limits for a spin this week, right? So, last week I was saying, even though there was all this bullish sentiment in the market due to the massive transportation issues we're seeing in Canada, it just something wasn't sitting right with me. You know what I mean? I felt like the backs were really only being purchased in defense of March's runaway. And then, I mentioned this in the past, guys turn these trades, these defensive trades, into positions. And, if they did the job they were supposed to, meaning, offset your loss from the front, you're supposed to get out of both sides at the same time. So again, I figured if March slipped before expiration, you would see the backs collapse, or if it didn't, then the very next day or the very next week, right after expiration, I expected the backs to collapse, right? So this week, last week's high in March was $14.77, which was about, an $80 premium to cash. We're already down 142, from Friday. May's high was $13.57. And if you remember, that was also our swing high 3 times in March before we finally broke through it. That lost 204 points to 1153. And then July's high was 1,204, and it got down to 1,000, so it lost 204 points over there. Random Length Print came out on Wednesday with $1,400, right? That's what the cash equivalent is. So that puts March at a $65 discount, May at a $247 discount, and July at a whopping $400 discount. So, I think guys that have lumber needs, obviously you could do a lot better in the board than you can in the streets. So this might be a good time to at least start forward selling. But I think everybody's truly nervous, Marlon. No one knows which way is going to happen. Everyone's watching Ukraine, crude. Everything's a mess right now. So just be careful and be mindful.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you pointed that out. There is all kinds of risk in all the markets, and lumber is not any exception, that's for sure. Well, great stuff. Thanks, Robin. Appreciate that. Robin Cross of StoneX in Chicago with a look at our lumber market that's extremely wild this year.